Hey guys, this is Donald Trump. I am with Tyler Perry. Hi.
Hey, what you want?
Do you love play as Medea?
Yes, I love playing as Medea.
Can you do the voice?
Sure, I can do the voice.
You ain't seen me. You must be seeing double. I'm gonna be everywhere you go, and I'm gonna keep being there till you go insane. You think you can get away from me? You got another thing coming? I will hunt you down until the end of time. I'm gonna make your life so hard you'll cry yourself to sleep every single night. And when you cry to sleep, I'll be right there. I'll be whispering in your ear, I told you so.
Is you and Oprah still friends?
Yeah, we still friends. She might be a little too busy nowadays, but we still talk. She's still the same old Oprah.
Medea goes to jail.
Yeah, I did go to jail, but let me tell you something. I didn't let that stop me. I was in there causing all sorts of trouble, messing with the guards and the other inmates. I even managed to bust out, never a dull moment when Medea's around.
What thought working with Steve Harvey?
Man, Steve is a real character. He can be funny as hell one minute and then serious the next. But when we worked together on the movie, it was a blast. We had a lot of laughs. And let me tell you, that man can dress. He had the best suits and ties, and his shoe game was on point.
What the funniest moment of with David Mann?
I remember this one time we was filming a scene, and David was supposed to be all serious and angry. He was giving this whole big speech, but he couldn't keep a straight face. Every time I would say something, he'd start cracking up. Finally, we had to stop filming because he was laughing so hard. We was rolling on the floor, crying and everything. It was hilarious.
What the hardest scene with Kashia Knight Pulliam?
Oh, that girl is a natural. She's got a lot of talent, and it shows in her scenes. But there was this one scene in particular that gave her some trouble. It was a really emotional scene, and she had to cry on cue. It took us several takes to get right because she just couldn't quite get the tears to flow when we needed to. But in the end, she nailed it, and it was one of the most powerful scenes in the movie.
Medea's witness protection.
That movie was a lot of fun to make. We shot it in New York, and it was my first time filming outside of Georgia. It was a little cold up there, but we had a blast. And let me tell you, Eugene Levy is a real gem. He's a funny dude, and we had some great scenes together.
What the funniest moment with Eugene Levy?
Oh, there were a lot of funny moments with Eugene on set. One time we were in the middle of filming a scene, and he suddenly started doing this crazy dance. I don't know where it came from, but it was hilarious. We were all doubled over laughing, and it took us a good 10 minutes to get back to work. Another time, he accidentally let out a loud fart on set, and it echoed through the entire studio. We were all in hysterics for days after that.
What the hardest scene in with Tom Arnold?
We had a few scenes together, and he's a real clown, that one. I remember this one scene in particular where we were supposed to be arguing, but he just kept cracking jokes. It was hard to stay serious because he kept making me laugh. But even though he was goofing off, he still brought a lot of energy and enthusiasm to the set. I always enjoyed working with him.
A Medea Christmas.
That was a fun one to do, let me tell you. We shot it in the South, and it was a real Christmas wonderland. We had fake snow, twinkling lights, and a big old Christmas tree in the middle of the set. And let me tell you, my co-stars were a hoot. Kathy Najimy and Chad Michael Murray were both great to work with, and we had a blast just goofing off on set.
What the funniest moment with Kathy Najimy, Chad, Michael Murray?
Well, there was this one time when we were filming a scene, and Kathy's phone started ringing in the middle of a take. She tried to ignore it, but the ringing just kept getting louder and louder. Finally, Chad had to step in and grab her phone and shut it off. We were all cracking up, and even the director couldn't help but laugh. It was a real classic moment, and we all had a good laugh about it after the fact.
What's your thought working out with Larry the Cable Guy?
Larry's a good old boy, I'll tell you that much. He's got this real down-home Southern charm, and he's always cracking jokes. Working with him was a blast. We had a lot of fun on set, and he's just a real sweetheart. But when it comes to acting, he's a real professional. He knows his craft, and he brought a lot of heart to his role. It was an honor to work with him.
What the hardest scene with Lisa Welchel?
Lisa was such a sweetheart on set. She's a pro, so she was always prepared and ready to go whenever the cameras rolled. But there was this one scene in particular that gave us a little trouble. We had to do a lot of takes because Lisa had to deliver some pretty emotional lines, and we really wanted to get it just right. But in the end, she absolutely nailed it, and it was one of the most powerful scenes in the movie.
Tyler Perry's Medea on the Run.
That was a real ride, let me tell you. We shot in this little town in Louisiana, and it was like stepping back in time. We had a lot of fun on set, and my co-stars were a riot. In particular, there was this one scene where I had to drive a car through a swamp, and let me tell you, it was a real doozy. We had to do a lot of takes, and I almost got stuck in the mud more times than I care to admit.
What the funniest moment with Cassie Davis?
Cassie is a real hoot, let me tell you. She's always cracking jokes and keeping the set lively. There was this one moment in particular that still sticks out in my mind. We were filming a scene and Cassie had to say a line, but she just couldn't get through it without laughing. She started cracking up, and before we knew it, the whole crew was in fits of giggles. It took us a solid 10 minutes just to get back to work.
What the hardest scene with Tony Hightower?
Tony is a great actor, no doubt about it. He's got a lot of talent, and he brought a lot of intensity to his role. There was this one scene in particular that was really challenging, though. It was an emotional scene where he had to deliver some really heavy lines, and it was tough for him to get through it without getting choked up. We did a lot of takes to get it just right, but in the end, he nailed it. It was a real powerful moment, and I was proud of him for giving such a great performance.
Medea's tough love cartoon version.
Working on the cartoon version was a whole other experience, let me tell you. We had to use a lot of special effect and animation to bring it to life, and it was a real challenge. The toughest scene in particular was this one where Madea was in an action-packed chase scene. We had to animate all these crazy chases and stunts, and it took a lot of time and effort to get it just right. But in the end, it was all worth it, and the end result was a blast.
What the funniest scene with Kate Higgins?
Kate was a real joy to work with. She had great comedic timing, and she was always able to make us crack up on set. There was this one scene in particular where she was being really sassy and giving me attitude. She had us all in stitches just trying to get through the scene without laughing. It took us a good few tries just to get it right because we were all so amused. But in the end, it was hilarious, and Kate really shined in that moment.
What the hardest scene with Bootsy Collins?
Bootsy is a legend, so working with him was a real honor. But there was this one scene in particular that gave us a bit of trouble. He had to play this really intense and emotional scene, and it was tough for him to get through it without getting emotional himself. We did a lot of takes to get it just right, but in the end, he absolutely nailed it. It was a real powerful moment, and Bootsy really poured his heart and soul into his performance.
Madea gets a job.
Now, that movie was a fun ride, let me tell you. We shot in Atlanta, which is like my second home, and it was a real blast. But there was this one scene in particular that was a real doozy. We had to film a scene in a busy shopping mall, and it was a logistical nightmare. We had to get permits and work around all the other shoppers and store employees, and we had to be careful not to cause too much of a commotion. But in the end, we got it done, and it turned out great.
Why is you not doing Madea anymore?
Well, you know, everything has a season, and I feel like my season with Madea is coming to an end. It's been a great ride, and I've had a lot of fun playing this character, but I think it's time for me to move on and explore other roles and projects. I'll always be grateful for the opportunities that Madea has given me, and I'm excited to see what the future holds. Plus, let's be honest, this old gal needs a rest after all these years of playing Madea.
What city does you own?
You know, I've lived in a lot of places over the years, but if I had to say where I call home, it would be Atlanta, Georgia. That's where I was born and raised, and it will always hold a special place in my heart. It's a real special place with a lot of great people and a lot of love. And let me tell you, the food in Atlanta is out of this world. You got to try it sometime.
Steve Harvey recalls how his wife Marjorie Harvey negotiated their $15.00 M purchase of your former mansion.
Oh, that's right. Steve and Marjorie bought my old house. It's a beautiful place, isn't it? And let me tell you, Marjorie is a real go-getter. She was the one who did the negotiations and got the deal done. That woman is a real businesswoman, I tell you. I'm glad that house is in good hands, and I know that Steve and Marjorie will take real good care of it.
Ex-partner is Jalila Bakela, who's the mother of your son Iman. In December 2020, you publicly stated you were single, not married to anyone.
Yeah, Galila and I have our son Iman together, and we are co-parents and good friends. But at the moment, I am single and not married to anyone. I'm just focusing on my career and my family for now, and enjoying life one day at a time. You know, sometimes you got to take a break from relationships and just focus on yourself for a while.
You're now 55 years. How feel?
Well, let me tell you, I'm still feeling pretty good for my age. Sure, I've got a few more wrinkles than I used to, and maybe I don't have the same energy I did when I was younger, but I'm still spry and full of life. And let's be real, I've got plenty of sass and attitude to spare. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good for a 55-year-old.
8'6'5".
You got that right. I'm 6 feet 5 inches tall, and let me tell you, I've been this tall since I was a teenager. Growing up, I was always the tallest person in my class, but I don't mind. Being tall has its perks, you know. Like I can reach all the high shelves in the kitchen, and I always get a good view at concerts. But let me tell you, it's not all fun and games. I've hit my head on a few door frames in my day, if you know what I mean.
How did you start acting?
Well, let me tell you, I didn't start out as an actor. I was a writer first. I started out writing plays and screenplays for myself and my church. But eventually I started to feel drawn to acting, and I decided to give it a shot. I started taking acting classes and auditioning for roles. And let me tell you, it wasn't easy. I had to face a lot of rejection, and I had to work real hard to get where I am today. But in the end, it was worth it. And I'm so glad I took that leap of faith.
Boo, a Medea Halloween.
Well, let me tell you, that movie was a real treat to make. It was full of ghouls, ghosts, and all things spooky, and it was a lot of fun to bring to life. We had some great jump scares and some real hilarious moments. And let me tell you, that mask I wore in the movie was so scary, it would make a grown man scream like a little girl.
You play as Brian, Joe as well.
Yep, in the movie Boo, a Medea Halloween, I played a character named Brian, and Joe played the character of Joe. Both Brian and Joe were interesting characters, and they definitely added some depth to the story. It was fun playing a character who was a little bit more lighthearted and goofy, and it was great to work with Joe and bring these characters to life.
Will like Work the Rock or Kevin Hart?
Oh, working with The Rock and Kevin Hart would be a dream come true. They're both incredibly talented and charismatic actors and comedians, and I'm sure it would be a lot of fun to work with them. The Rock has that charisma and athleticism that makes him a force to be reckoned with on screen, while Kevin Hart brings that quick wit and comedic timing that makes him a crowd favorite. It would be a blast to work with them both.
What type of movie?
Well, I think working with The Rock and Kevin Hart would be great for a few different types of movie. Maybe a buddy cop comedy where they play two unlikely partners who must work together to take down a criminal mastermind. Or maybe a wild action comedy epic where they have to save the world from a team of villains trying to take over the planet. There are endless possibilities, and the sky's the limit when you have two stars like The Rock and Kevin Hart together on screen.
Medea's Destination Wedding.
Well, that's a real special one. It was filmed in Columbus, Georgia, and it was a real labor of love for everyone involved. We had some beautiful locations and some real talented actors and crew members on this one. But, you know, working in that heat and humidity was really tough. It was so hot that we had to stop shooting sometimes so everyone could cool down and rest. But in the end, it was totally worth it, and the final product was a real gem.
What the funniest moment with Tamela Mann?
You know, there were so many funny moments with Tamela on set, I can't even count them all. But there was this one moment in particular that really sticks out in my mind. We were shooting this scene and everything was going smooth, but then all of a sudden, Tamela just let out this loud burp. It was so unexpected and so loud that it echoed throughout the entire set. We all just stopped and looked at her, and she just had this sheepish look on her face.
What the hardest scene with Diamond White?
Working with Diamond on that project was a real challenge, let me tell you. She's a real talented youngster, but she can be a handful sometimes. There was this one scene in particular that was tough to shoot. We were doing a really intense, emotional scene, and Diamond just didn't seem to be getting it right. We did take after take, and she just couldn't seem to get it to feel authentic. It was really tough, but in the end, she really pulled it together and delivered a powerful performance.
Medea's Class Reunion.
Oh, that one was a blast. It was filmed in New Orleans, and it was so much fun to be back in the Big Easy. We had some real colorful characters in this one, and it was just a joy to bring them all to life. And let me tell you, the music in this one was just amazing. We had some real talented musicians on set, and they really brought the energy and the soul to the movie. So many great memories from that one.
I have questions. When you play as Medea's, was the outfit and wig hot?
Oh, that wig and those outfits can get hot real quick, let me tell you. But, you know, I've gotten used to it over the years, and I just push through. But on really hot days, oh boy, it can be brutal. I remember this one day on set. It was so hot, my head was just drenched with sweat by the end of the day. But you know what? I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. Being Medea is just too much fun.
I just love your Medea's voice. You good job.
Well, thank you so much. You know, playing Medea has been such a wild ride, and I've had a blast bringing her to life. I'm just glad that people enjoy her as much as I do. And let me tell you, her voice has a mind of its own sometimes. I think she's just full of sass and attitude, and she always has something to say. But that's what makes her so fun and endearing.
When did the voice it hurt?
Oh, doing the voice can definitely take a toll on the old vocal cords sometimes. I've had some days where my throat was really sore after a long day of filming, but I'm tough and I just push through it. Plus, I've got a few tricks up my sleeve to keep my voice in tip-top shape. I make sure to stay hydrated, drink lots of tea with honey, and do vocal warm-ups before a shoot. It ain't always easy, but it's worth it to bring Medea to life.
Your childhood.
My childhood was a real colorful one, let me tell you. I grew up in New Orleans, and it was a real magical place. I remember running through the streets, playing with all the other neighborhood kids, and getting into all sorts of mischief. We'd explore old abandoned buildings, go fishing down at the river, and just have a good old time. Of course, there was always the occasional trouble we'd get into, but it was all part of growing up. It was a great time, and I cherish those memories to this day.
Will you do more acting in your future?
Oh, absolutely. Acting is my passion, and I see myself doing it for as long as I can. There are so many roles out there that I'd love to bring to life, and I'm always working on finding new and exciting projects to take on. I'm just grateful to have a career that I love so much and to have fans who support my work. So get ready for more Medea magic in the future.
What is your favorite food?
Oh, I love food. I'm a real Southern heart, so anything fried is right up my alley. But let me tell you, nothing beats a good old bowl of red beans and rice. It's a classic Southern dish, and it just fills me right up. I also have a weakness for sweets, especially pecan pie and banana pudding. I just can't resist a good dessert, you know?
What's your favorite drink? What is your dream car and why?
Well, when I was younger, I always dreamed of owning a red Cadillac. There's just something about those big, flashy cars that has always been so appealing to me. And now that I've got some money in my pocket, I finally took the plunge and bought myself one. It's a real beauty, let me tell you. It's got all the bells and whistles, and it's just a joy to drive. I feel like a real badass behind the wheel, and I love every minute of it.
What's dream house?
My dream house would be a big old Southern mansion with columns out front and a big old porch where I can sit and watch the world go by. I'd have all the modern amenities, of course, but I'd want it to have that classic Southern charm. Lots of wood and stone with big windows to let the sunshine in, and I'd have a big old swing on the porch, and I'd spend many a lazy afternoon just swinging and sipping tea. It would be my little piece of heaven.
Outside of your own productions, you has been cast in numerous Hollywood films, including Star Trek 2009.
That's right. I've been lucky enough to be in a few Hollywood films over the years, and it's always a real thrill. Star Trek was a really fun project to work on. I got to step out of my comfort zone a bit and play a different kind of role. But no matter what kind of role I play, I always try to bring my own unique style and personality to the character. I'm just grateful for every opportunity I get to bring my talents to the big screen.
What is your thoughts when you play Medea?
When I play Medea, it feels like slipping into a familiar old shoe. She's a character that comes naturally to me, and I just have a blast bringing her to life. She's such a fun and vibrant character, and I just love getting into character and giving her that signature attitude. It's like taking a vacation from my own life and just letting loose and having fun. Plus, the reactions I get from audiences just make it all worthwhile.
Thanks for coming, Tyler Perry.
No problem. It was a pleasure answering your questions. Remember to stay tuned for my future projects. I'm always working on something new and exciting.
I am Donald Trump. This is Tyler Perry. We both signing out.
Hey, you better like this video like I asked, or else I'll be coming for you. That's right, I'll put on my best Medea outfit and start following you around like a shadow until you show some appreciation. And I'll keep bugging and bugging you until you finally show me some love. So listen up and don't make me come after you, because Medea don't mess around, you hear me? Like the video now or you'll regret it.